Hello and welcome to the next video in the MegaMan series. In this video I'm going to be introducing something what I call damage overrides. And a damage override is basically a way of changing the default value of the damage being applied. When you play the original game and you're facing BombMan, for instance, normally your Mega Buster takes off 1 health point. However, when you actually face BombMan and he gets hit by the Mega Buster, he actually loses 2 health points per hit. So another case would be when you're shooting against Gabyoall. The Mega Buster actually doesn't damage or hurt that enemy. It actually only stuns the enemy. So hitting it with a Mega Buster shouldn't hurt it at all or kill it. It should only stun it. So normally your Mega Buster is passing a value of 1 as damage, but we don't want that one to be damaged. So that's where these overrides come in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump ahead here. We're going to just face BombMan real quick. And what I'm going to do also is we're going to take a look at the player. And if we go down here, we're going to see that our bullet damage is still only a value of 1. And even though we're not using the Mega Buster off of our weapon structure, it's still got a value. It's got a value of 1 as well. So let's go and face BombMan real quick. We're just going to shoot him a couple times. And as you can see, basically is losing 2 health points per hit. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at the code that makes this happen. And what I introduced is basically a new structure, and I'm putting in the enemy. Now, I'm only doing this to the enemies. If you want to apply this concept to the player, or you can do that as well if you want, but I'm only using it on the enemies here. And the system that I'm using really doesn't, it's not specific to this. It's just an idea I had of how I would do it. And you can really use it in anything, I think. So basically the structure here, it has 4 items in it. First one's a bool. This is ignore invincibility. So what we want to do is if we want our damage override to basically bypass invincibility, that's what this bool will do. And then the damage amount for the override, so in this case, if you're facing BombMan, you basically have a value of 2 for your bullet damage instead of the default 1. And weapon name in this case, if we're shooting a bullet, our weapon, even though it's not technically a weapon, but the bullet would be the name that we would assign to this. And then they're having her also an override event. So for instance, as I was mentioning that one enemy, if you shoot that enemy, it gets stunned. Well, this would be an override event. So when it gets shot by the bullet, we'd want it to maybe call a stun method, and that would basically pause it so it doesn't move. And when we actually get on to the next video, that's actually the enemy we're going to be covering, so you'll see this in action. So this is kind of like a prelude to that in a sense. So this is what the damage structure looks like, and we're putting it in the EnemyController. The next part that we change is in our TakeDamage function here, and I'm adding a second parameter called weapon name, and I'm just going to default it to null. So you don't have to actually pass anything to it, but if you do, then you're going to want to pass the weapon name that your structure should be looking for. So when we get in here, we're going to basically loop through all of our damage overrides if the enemy has any. And if it does, we're going to see if that name is one of the damage overrides that it has. And if that happens to match, we're going to take the damage amount and then override our default damage amount. And then we're going to take the ignore invincibility factor and override from false if we do. And then we're going to check and see if there's an event. If there is, we're going to call it. Now, we break out of this, so we're only looking for the 1. Odds are more than likely you're not going to be applying more than 1 damage at one time. So it's not like you have like 5 bullets hitting the enemy all at once, or throwing a bomb, switching and shooting a bullet, and they both hit the enemy at the same time. The same enemy at the same time. So you could take this out if you wanted, but I don't think you're really going to need to. And then what we do is I add in here an OR and look for this ignore invincibility. So if this happens to be true and this is false, it's going to bypass it and always come in here if this happens to be true. So those are the changes for the EnemyController. The next change would be in the bullet script. And what I'm doing in here in the trigger, you're basically on your part here where you're checking to see if the enemy is going to be taking damage or not. I'm just passing the value of bullet as the parameter here, so this is the weapon name. The next one would be the explosion script. The explosion script is a little different because right now it's just the bomb that's utilizing it. However, you may have other weapons that you would introduce that would be explosion types. So you may need to do this so that you can differentiate between which type of weapon is actually causing the explosion. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add another string. It's called damage override name. Just default it to null. And then we're going to come down here. And then I added a new public void here called set damage override name so that we can set the member of the class. And then down here in our trigger, we're going to basically pass that damage override name to the enemy TakeDamage, much like we did with the bullet. So the next one would be the bomb script change in here. So in the bomb script, we're going to, now the bomb script has two parts. The first part is the trigger enter. And this actually has to do with the contact damage. So if you have contact damage and the bomb actually touches the enemy, that's what this is all about. And then the other one would be the actual explosion of the bomb, which is different. So the bomb has two. You can either have it when it contacts or you can have it when it explodes. So this one down here is an override for the contact. So I'm just passing, I'm going to use the string bomb contact as what it should be looking for in the override. And then up in here, where our explode, that method that we created over in the explosion script, this one's going to be called bomb explosion. This is where I'm saying if you have an explosion script and you have different weapons that cause an explosion, then this is how you can basically pass what explosion is causing it. So maybe some enemies will react to bomb explosions and other enemies would react to some other kind of explosion. So that's what you're going to do here to set this up. So those are the changes for the scripts. And the only other thing would be your actual player. I'm just going to stop this and I'm going to take a look at my boss enemy prefab. So BombMan. So BombMan has a override added. So I just you just set it to 1 and basically here I have a damage override amount of 2 and the weapon name is bullet and he has no invincibility, so I don't check that. So you could if you want, it doesn't matter, it's going to be ignored anyway. And damage amounts to, and the weapon is going to be bullet. So when BombMan takes a hit, it's going to go in here, it's going to say, is there any length to this? So it's going to go through the overrides and say, oh, bullet. And then he has the item here called bullet. So it's going to basically take that damage to 2 and it's going to change that. And so when it gets down here to the normal code, it's going to damage him by 2 instead of the 1. So I am going to actually bring this over. We're going to see some other cases of this in action. So let's apply this. Pause it real quick because I don't want to have any sound for this. So we're just going to turn this off again. And we're going to use Sniper Joe as the example. Now, I'm going to come over here and let me just put myself on invincible real quick. Alright, so Sniper Joe. You can shoot him all day long, he's invincible, he's blocking right now. So I'm going to add a damage override in. So I'm going to give it a length of 1. And I'm going to just say my Mega Buster, I'm going to use the bullet, like the Mega Buster bullet. I'm going to say my bullet will be able to take off 5, and it's going to be bullet, right? Because that's what I want him to be hit by, a bullet. So I'm going to shoot him again. Still nothing, because he has invincibility. So I'm going to say ignore invincibility. Now you can hear, this sounds different. Obviously he took the hit, and he died. So that's the damage override in action with him. So I'm going to add him back into the scene. Enemies, Sniper Joe. Let's just drop him again. And we're going to give him another damage override. But this time I'm going to have him react to the bomb contact. So bomb contact, I'm just going to say 10. Basically his health is 10. I want the one bomb contact to take him out. And so that's going to be bomb contact. And we're going to say ignore invincibility on that too. But before I be able to do that, my player needs to be able to have a bomb. So I'm just going to give him a bomb real quick. And then I'm going to switch. And then I'm going to throw a bomb at him. And on contact, you should just kill him right away. And you can see, boom, he's dead. So now I'm going to add in Sniper Joe again. This time I'm going to have the explosion kill him. So I'm going to give him, let's just do 2. Let's assume the first one is 5. We're just going to say bomb contact again. So we're going to give him a double whammy. And then the next one is going to be also a 5, but this is going to be the bomb explosion. So now I'm going to throw the bomb at him. Here. 2 hits on him. 5 on the bomb contact, and then 5 on the explosion. So he got double whammied and killed. So anyway. So, quick, simple, easy video. This is how I basically implemented a damage override system. So, you can implement it in your game. So, if you have any enemies that you want to be able to apply different damages to, or you can do vice versa. Now, I didn't include it where the player can have different damages applied to him by enemies, but you could do that. And also, I didn't include a method inside the EnemyController to dynamically add damage overrides to enemies or alter them on the fly. So you can do that if you want. It's pretty simple. You just create the methods. You can search the structure array to see if you have that, and then just alter it. Or if it's not there, you can add it. So it's up to you. Pretty simple stuff to do. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up if you found it useful. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel. We're almost done with this series. So not much left. And so stay safe out there, and I will catch you at the next video. Bye.